Washington, D.C. right now. Alex, what do you know?
Well, Don, protesters express themselves in many different ways. We have heard lots of chants. Tonight here we heard lots of live music. It was a really nice atmosphere. I want to show you, this is a spotlight that some protesters have set up. They are beaming different messages with these little metal inserts onto the famous Hey Adams Hotel. That one, if you can't see it, says, "We can't breathe." So that is one of the many messages, of course, that we've heard from protesters over the course of the past week. Now, this right here is essentially as close as protesters have been able to get to the White House. The White House has been the epicenter of the protests here in Washington, D.C. for the past 6 nights. What has happened, however, is that law enforcement has pushed the protesters back farther and farther away from the White House. At first, they were in the park. Excuse me, sorry about that. Then they set up a fence in the park, and today they pushed them all the way back to this line. What you are looking at here is a long row of National Guard forces, some of the 2,000 to 3,000 different National Guard forces here in the District of Columbia, here to reinforce the law enforcement efforts. What we've also seen, rather interestingly, Don, are Bureau of Prisons forces, essentially the riot police for prisons, who came here to guard the White House. All the way, some of them from Texas. Now, right behind this row of National Guard, you can see those 2 trucks. So essentially, it would be very difficult for anyone inside the White House, say President Donald Trump, to actually see what is going on out here in the streets. I want to point out one more thing. That right there is St. John's Episcopal Church. It's the Church of the Presidents. It's gotten a lot of attention over the course of the past few days, because that is where, on Monday night, the President, after that the protesters were violently cleared out of the area, walked across the park to go there, not to go inside to pray. As a bishop for the diocese said, he did not mention the name George Floyd, but he went out there to hold up a Bible. Now, I spoke with the rector of that church earlier today. Parishioners, worshipers, are not able to go to that church today because of this line that you see right here. This is the first time the worshipers can't go to the church, according to the rector, since 9/11. Now, Don, we are just after midnight. It is more than an hour past the curfew. I had mentioned to you earlier that the crowds are thinning out. In fact, what we've seen are, in the words of protesters, reinforcements arriving. Down there in that intersection is another crowd of protesters who we understand marched here from the Capitol to join the protest here. Everybody out here all day, Don, has been very peaceful. Obviously, there are some concerns that at some point things could turn, as we have seen in the past few nights, and it is notable that there is no separation, no barrier between those forces, those National Guards, and the protesters. I should mention there is a bit of controversy going on between the city of Washington and the federal government, because the federal government has gotten this hodgepodge, this patchwork of all sorts of different agencies, more than a dozen, to help them out on the law enforcement front. And the mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser, has insinuated that the federal government is overstepping their bounds. And the chief of police here has said that what we have seen from these federal law enforcement officers has made his job much more difficult. So the mayor of D.C. is saying that they are looking to the legality of deploying military forces on the streets of D.C. And she says that, in fact, making a move like that, deploying military forces, is unconscionable. Don?
Alex Marquardt in Washington. We'll follow. We'll check back. Thank you very much.